not just registered voters, but registered voters who are connected to many other activist registered voters. They don't vote, they act out, act out. I don't mean that's not the same group, I understand, but you know what I'm trying to say. They act out. And in fact, but for them, I might not be so bold in my own acting out. And so I've been blessed by having supporters of this caliber that have been fair and honest, and have also been brave enough to recognize when certain types of actions need to be taken on behalf of the community. These are not ego trippers. These are not people who are just looking for the limelight. These are people who are really relatively unknown to the media in terms of their personality, in terms of their names. We who have the privilege of being elected, we get acknowledged. But behind this campaign, behind this candidate, is an army of folks from the neighborhood, grassroots activists, sometimes we call them, tenant activists, community board activists, local leaders that are the ones, school board leaders, the ones who make our neighborhoods work, the ones who our families reach out to for that kind of support. These are neighbors, tenants and neighbors, one might call it. So, and over my career has been blessed because they have been the army behind much of what I've been able to advocate for, and to the extent that I have any success as an elected official, I want to give them all publicly the credit, and many of them are not even here yet.
And the best way to evaluate your legislative record in the state senate versus some other people who are in the state senate and the assembly that are also in the race?
I think if you're looking for a candidate who has been able to challenge the status quo from the perspective of a record that has, I believe, been embracing and has been, I believe, directly affected. For instance, lead paint poisoning. Anybody hear about lead paint poisoning? Yeah. Okay. That's a part of my legislative record, and I think that was an issue that many people turned a blind eye to. Why? Some of you may remember the era of the rule of the landlords, who refused to allow such legislation to be properly addressed. I make reference to my Chief of Staff, Cordell Clear, who was a leader in that movement, and enabled me to become familiar and thereby able to do something in a very positive way for the children of our district and not of the city, an issue that has had a very, very profound and positive impact for the neighborhood, not just in terms of the health, but also of the body, but the health of the spirit, because people felt that some kind of change, some type of solution was actually taking place, and so it also gave them a good feeling that finally some progress is made. So I think that's a very significant example of some of the differences between the way we have been operating as leaders in the neighborhood that have been emboldened by other grassroots activists, members of various communities. The diversity that this congressional district represents, I have served effectively. And I think it's represented here on these steps outside of Schomburg Plaza. And that doesn't, in no way do we want to forget the significance of the efforts that we've been making towards making sure our public schools of the highest caliber. Now I know I'm stepping on some thin ice right now, but I just want to make sure that this is a campaign about public education and the significance of public education. We want to keep the public in public education. We don't want an oxymoron type of arrangement that might suggest some kind of privatization of public education. And I think that it's very important that we tell it like it is, and I believe that's a slippery slope. Yes?
I guess you touched on public housing, public education, rent. I mean, those are your priorities going into Congress. And I guess part two of that question is, it's very likely the Democrats will be out of power in Congress for as much as a decade. So I mean, I guess how do you aim to accomplish a lot of these things?
Well, first and foremost, I keep in mind the motto of the great Congressman Adam Clayton Powell: "Keep the faith."
Yes.
Okay, that's very, very important, especially in the context in which you provided that clarified that question, and also more importantly, considering the living conditions that many of our people in the community are going through. We cannot despair, no matter who is in charge. We must continue to move forward. It is the message of the civil rights movement. It's the message of the women's rights movement. It's the message really of this city, and I believe of this congressional district, that we want to make sure that we are prepared to champion even the obstacles that seem to be unmovable.
Senator Perkins, there's been a shift, according to a lot of experts, of black political power to Brooklyn, especially with Congressman Rangel being in power for so long here in this congressional district. Are you worried about voter fatigue or getting young people engaged?
I'm not worried at all about that. And I'm not even worried about the fact that so-called political power is shifting from one borough to another borough. You know, this is the nature of democracy. Those who vote, get. Right. Those who don't vote, don't get. That's if the votes are someplace, if we're not voting, we're not getting. Let's be real. We don't live in a world that is simply determined by whether or not you need. You also have to participate in the political process. So you're asking me, do I feel competitive with folks in Brooklyn because they're shifting in their power? God bless them. And I hope that that shift translates into what we would want them to have even if they were here. Right. So wherever good is going on, we support it. We don't compete with it. And so if the folks in Brooklyn are registered and voting, hopefully they're translating that power into the conditions, improving the conditions of the people in those communities. And if there's some lessons to be learned from them, we will be open for those lessons too.
One last question.
To get elected?
What's your biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge, I believe, obviously, is to making sure that we get out the vote. We believe that the vote is there for us. It's represented by the various organizations that are behind us. And if we do what we have to do, based on past votes that we have gotten in this particular district, I don't think we will lose. And I believe that we are prepared to do that work. As I said, I'm not the only marathoner in this crowd. Everybody here, in their own little way, is a marathoner. Either as a tenant leader, either as a parent leader, either as a parent, period. And so these are not sprint. These are people that are not looking for the sprint. They're looking for the long run. And they understand that that's how you win. And this, what we're trying to do in terms of representing this neighborhood and creating opportunities for the children of the future, is not something that we have to have a sort of tenacious marathon runner type mentality in order to win. Now, if you finish, you win.
Senator, who do you think would be the most effective partner for you in the White House? Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, or some other candidate?
Well, let me put it this way. Because I have not yet publicly announced my endorsement, and a question like that will be read as an endorsement, and until such time that the individual candidates and I have a chance to speak, and the people that I'm involved with have a chance to also be engaged with them, I'd like to hold off on that question, not as a dodge, but because I don't want to signal any kind of endorsement prematurely. But I believe that any Democrat that I see in the race right now is better than the alternative.
Thank you.
That's the best answer. That's the best answer.
Thank you, Corey Wise, for that answer.
It is one of the things, just to bounce off Emily's question, it is over the years has become a majority Hispanic district. Do you feel how do you feel you can engage that community?
I was raised in El Barrio East Harlem.
Así mismo es.
Me llamo Guillermo Perkins, okay? Y yo puedo hablar un poquito de español, pero también Rafael Escano está. and so I think we'll be okay.
Thank you.
¿Me entiende? How'd I do? So, I'm reminded about the challenges of our immigrant community. So we have some legislation that's very important to us that is known as the Dream Deal.
Right.
if there's one important message that you can, as reporters, communicate to the public, ask them to join us in making sure that the DREAM Act is passed. Whether we're at the state level, federal level, or whatever, we have to continue the great tradition of what we might call the American way, which is to embrace difference, to open up. That's what we're trying to do. Thank you so much. ¿Está bien? Did you meet Pam? Did y'all meet Pam? All right. Everybody say, hey, Pam.
Hey, Pam!
I never met her.
You never met her?
No, I want to meet her.
Hey, Bill.
I'm sorry, bro. Keep doing it.
Okay.
Take it.
Can I go? Come. Is this stand in the way? No. Okay, I got out of here live, so I better quit while I'm ahead.
Yay! Perkins! All those signs up. Right? Hi, sweetheart. How you doing? Hi, yes.
Oh, give me a flyer.
Thank you so much. What is the present? Yes. How you doing?
Wait a minute.
Hey, how are you?
Saturday morning. No, not that one. That's on the 16th. No, that's on the 16th. It's on
Good too.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I'm not going to give this up. What y'all need?
That's your photographer? Very good. One more?
It's fine.
Hey! I know. That's a. Let's see where you got that hat from. 'Cause that looks like my color. That looks like exactly my hat. That's what I'm saying. That's what. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Very good. I'm sorry I didn't wear mine. It would have been nice. Need your help. Okay.
Yes. Still pretty. Yeah, you're still pretty. You
I gave you. Oh, really?
Giveaway.
I had a suit giveaway. He got one of them.
Yeah, about 5 years ago. I gave my first suit.
Isn't that something? That's incredible. Isn't that something?
I appreciate that.
You get in here. You stand there. No, you stand there. You get here.
Yeah, he is the best.
Okay? Styling and smiling. Styling and smiling.
Perfect.